From the land of frozen lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. Yes. So late January, February coming up, all sorts of things going on regarding winter sports teams. And I think we'll start with the Minnesota Wild, who obviously whatever they're cooking up over there at the XL Energy Center as far as home cooking goes, they need to find something else for that team to eat because they're 11, 12, and 1 at the X. They're a below-average home team. They're very good on the road. They're on an extended trip as we speak, Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and Boston. But beyond that, I think eclipsing all of that is Kirril Kaprizov out again.
Yeah, and he's out for at least 4 weeks. We don't know exactly the injury. It's a lower body injury. It didn't heal, whatever it was, before he went out for, about 2 or 3 weeks. Now he's out again. He's going to have surgery on what we don't know. It's just lower body. I would suspect we're talking knee or ankle.
This is the nuclear code over there that they're trying to protect.
Man. I mean...
Well, and it's odd because I saw when he came back last week against Utah, a home loss. Yes, and you know, there was some rust. You could sense it, but he had a few shots on goal, and you thought, okay, he'll get back into it. But then they had a game against Calgary and then Chicago, and then he shut down again.
Yeah. Well, this is a huge loss. I mean, he was on his way he was in the conversation for the Hart Trophy, MVP of the league. I mean, he was off to a really good start. The Wild were off to a really good start, obviously. But now, you know, they have struggled, as you said, at home. It's been not good when you're below 500 on home ice, you know, in the state of hockey of all things.
Yeah, you're getting shut out by the Utah Hockey Club.
Oh, my
the game
goodness.
I saw, then 2 nights later on Hockey Day in Minnesota, Calgary whips up on them. They did get a victory over Chicago.
In Chicago, I might add.
Yeah, they had to pack their bags to have success. But, you know, they built up a lot of points with their fast start, but that still isn't going to be enough. They're going to have to keep playing solid hockey because Colorado and Dallas are trying to chase them down.
Of course.
Winnipeg has been sensational so far. So it's a tough division. At least the first 4 or 5 teams are. And the Wild, they can't afford to go into a funk. It's a very competitive Western Conference in the NHL.
Yeah, no doubt. And without Kaprizov for the next 4 or 4+ weeks, we shall see how they handle it. They actually were above 500 while he was gone last time. Can they continue that? And, you know, that's basically what they need to do. If they can play 500 or above 500 hockey here for the month or so that he is out, they should be in good shape.
They're a pretty deep team. I think we've learned that at least, you know, through the first few months of the season. But, again, it's a hyper-competitive league. We'll see how they do without Kirril, big picture.
Yeah. Okay. Your Minnesota Timberwolves have basically become a 500 team. I mean, they win 3 or 4 in a row, and then they lose 2 or 3 in a row. You know, they bounce back and forth. They played really well last weekend against Denver. They wiped them out at Target Center. But you just don't know what you're going to get from night to night. And, you know, I know we've been belaboring this, but it's just so true. Without Karl Anthony Towns, I'm not sure that this team has a chance to do anything close to what they did last year.
No, and this trade has really become a debacle. And the only way you can justify this deal is if the Minnesota Timberwolves go back to the Western Conference Finals and possibly take the next step into the NBA Finals. And I don't see that in my crystal basketball. I don't think they're going to get close. And if they do, then I'll say I was wrong. But I don't understand why you would upset the apple cart and the chemistry in that locker room. Cat was a pillar on the team, in the community. He liked being in the Twin Cities. He never said he wanted to get out of here like some guys do. He was okay playing in the North Pole of the NBA. And I feel like it was forced. I know they were worried about paying him next season. We'll worry about that when it comes. You know, what did Bud Grant once say? Don't make a decision until you have to. Dumb trade by the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the New York Knicks, are benefiting greatly.
Yeah, by the way, Karl Anthony Towns is the starting center for the Eastern Conference All-Stars. Anthony Edwards will be in the All-Star game. We know that. But Cat is the starting center for the East. And I heard Kendrick Perkins, former NBA player, said he's calling this trade the worst trade in the history of the NBA. Now, that's saying something. I know Kendrick's a little opinionated, but it's not very good. It doesn't look good. I'm sorry, all the cap space things and all moving all the pieces around and all that stuff so you can keep Naz Reid or you can keep Rudy Gobert or Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Keep Cat.
Yeah. Well, the easy way to look at it is at the end of last season, if you said who are the two players you can't deal off this roster, it's Cat and Ant.
Of course.
I mean, it makes zero sense, and the chemistry is something you can't just recreate, and they're probably going to rue the day of this trade for a long time. It'll go down with David Ortiz and Kevin Garnett.
Oh, boy, here we go.
And Herschel Walker and Johan Santana, and if I kept going, we'd have no time left.
Yes.
It's just the Minnesota way. Let's give him away.
All right. We'll talk more hoops next. Richard Coffey joins us to talk more about the Timberwolves and more basketball.
10K takes your Pucks ticket.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Push harder, recover faster, look and feel your best. At $5 tan, our infrared saunas are the secret weapon for athletes, fitness, and wellness lovers. Infrared heat penetrates deep to relieve sore muscles, boost circulation, and speed up recovery so you can stay in the game. Upgrade your fitness routine. Recover like a pro. Visit $5 tan today to step up your wellness. Visit our website at $5tan.com for infrared locations. Feel good, perform great. Welcome back. We're talking basketball here on 10,000 Takes, and we can talk both Gophers and Timberwolves with our next guest because he played for both. So we'll bring him in now. That, of course, is our friend Richard Coffey, who played for both the Gophers and the Timberwolves. Let's start out with the Gophers, since it's been kind of a mid-season reclamation project, if you will. Coming around, Dawson Garcia has played well. He was the Big Ten Player of the Week last week in the league. You know, he had that half-court game winner. Other than Dawson Garcia, are there things you're seeing in this team that have significantly improved from early on in the season?
For sure. I just think everybody is just a little more consistent, right? So if you can get your one or two superstars like Garcia playing well, and then the other individuals around him, the so-called role players, if their consistency gets a little better, which in the past games it has, you know, you can start making a turn and having some positive outcomes during the season, which is kind of lately has happened for them.
When you played at the Barn, Richard, Clem Haskins and that group, you had outstanding teams, and you filled it up, you know, on a nightly basis. It's been a struggle recently for the Gophers, but they had 11K for that Oregon win, the court rush, and all that good stuff. When that place is full, is that one of the top venues you've ever been to as far as playing or watching?
When it's full, there's not another place in the country like it. Like, it's super loud. The raised floor is very intimidating to visiting players. We know that falling off the raised floor or diving off the raised floor is not going to hurt you. I probably dove off that thing on purpose 1,000 times to get the crowd into the game. But it is one of the. I believe it's one of the stronger home courts there is in the country when it's full, and it's super loud. And I just remember back on nights going there playing against Michigan or Michigan State and the place being packed. And you can hear the noise when you're downstairs in the locker room. You can hear the noise downstairs. So you just knew the crowd was coming in and getting loud. It was just an amazing feeling, an amazing place to play.
Obviously, things have changed in college basketball, even since your son, Amir, left the Gophers just a couple of years ago.
Right.
But when looking at a program, is it really that important these days to have a brand spanking new arena with all the bells and whistles of the suites and everything else? I was there for that Oregon game that Eric just mentioned. I don't feel like that. I feel like the intimacy of that arena is such an advantage for Minnesota that the players are looking for other things. They want to get to the tournament, and they want right now to get paid. I mean, I think that those got to be at the top of the list, right?
For sure. I think it's changed now. Back when I played, I think playing in an arena was really important. And you got to understand, like, Williams Arena look very differently full than it does empty, right? And if you can go to some of these arenas across the country, they may show better when they're empty than Williams Arena does. But when that place is full, it's one of the best places in the country. And I think now some of the focus have changed. Like, players want to go to the tournament because everybody's trying to get seen. And with the NILs, like, they're looking to get paid. So I don't think the arena matters as much as it did in the past. I think there's different focus now for these young guys.
Now, that said, your son Amir, who played at Hopkins High, was a star for the U of M, is with the Los Angeles Clippers. They've got a brand new venue, Intuit Dome, which is space age, and you've been there. Tell us about Intuit Dome. And then the wildfires in SoCal. Was Amir impacted? I know the team was.
First, about the Dome, it's an amazing place. Like, I have never been in an arena like it at all. Some of the great features, they don't have the scoreboard in the middle of the floor. There's no scoreboard. It's on there's a video that loops around the entire arena. And to see, like, your son in video that shows across the entire arena, it's just amazing. It's almost like 3D. And there's so many special features to that arena that no other arenas have. I'm sure as future arenas are built, that they will go look at the Intuit Dome and get some ideas from there, because it's amazing. It's, as a fan, there's a lot of interactive things you can do while you're at the game. It's just an amazing place. I've never seen an arena like it. As far as the fires, Amir teammates did lose some property and some housing. Fortunately for Amir, he had to evacuate 2 different times. But each time, for whatever reason, whether the wind shifted or they was able to get the fire under control, he didn't lose his house or any of his valuables. And I remember him being in the backyard, sending me a video, and you can see the fire, it had came over the valley, and it was now kind of in their valley, and they had to evacuate. And he was showing me a video, and I promise you, it was the largest fire I've ever seen, and it looked like it was only like a mile away from his backyard. So I thought for sure at that point that he would lose everything, but fortunately he didn't. But unfortunate for a lot of other families out there, a lot of families got burnt out, lost everything. Some of the coaches, some of the players, some of the other individuals that work at the Clippers organizations lost property. So it was a big tragedy for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's stick with the NBA here. We're about at the halfway point of the season, a little bit past it, actually. How do you judge the Karl Anthony Towns trade at this point? We talked to you about it preseason. Now, how do you look at it?
Yeah, I don't think it's panned out really well for the Timberwolves. I think New York and Towns is playing really well in New York. I mean, he's having a really amazing season. And I think the guys that have come here, I don't think I'm not going to say they don't fit in, but they haven't delivered the level that Towns has delivered in the past. And I think the Timberwolves really missed that, Towns' three-point shooting. And, you can play Towns and, the two big guys together when Towns was in here. Towns been outside, Rudy been on the inside. And that was a big matchup problems for a lot of teams. If you're looking at the trade now, I think if you judging the trade and if you have to say that is it working or not, I would say not. Last year they won the Western Conference, right? They had the best record in the Western Conference, before the playoffs. And now, I don't know, I think, are they like 7th or 8th or something like that?
Yep.
So it's been a different season for them. I still think, Anthony is one of the best players in the NBA and is going to continue to get better. And he's super exciting and fun to watch. I just don't think, what they got in replace of Towns have worked out at the level that they were expecting it to.
And Richard, put yourself, say, in Ants High Tops or somebody else on that team. Last season, you knocked on the door, almost got to the NBA Finals. I'm guessing the feeling was, let's run it back. We're hungry. We'll take the next step. And then your meal ticket, one of your pillars, is sent away. As a player, did that disrupt the chemistry in the locker room? Did they upset the apple cart?
For sure. Whenever you get rid of one of your superstars and invite new people to your locker room, there's always new relationships to be built. You're trying to learn that person's personality, the things he likes to do on the court, positions that he likes to play, where he likes to receive the ball. So there's so much involved in accepting new players to your organization that happens on and off the court. And, Towns has been here for a long time and people loved him. And, what he brought to the team was a different dynamic than what the players bring to the team that they received.
Yeah, no question. Quickly, last question for you. Do you think that with the players they have, the way they are currently constructed, can they make a deep postseason run?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
That's the quick answer. Well, yeah. Thank you for that.
Didn't mix any words there.
Yeah. I think they were better suited last year. I really do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Hard to argue with that. Well, Richard, appreciate you spending some time with us, and we'll be knocking on your door and ringing your phone again.
Always great to speak with you guys.
All right.
Thanks, Richard.
Here's Richard Coffey, the former Timberwolf, former Golden Gopher, with us here on 10,000 Takes. Stay with us. More to come after this timeout.
From the Iron Range down to the Prairie Lands, over to Lakes Country, south to the Twin Cities, and back up the North Shore, the game of basketball has always been more than just a game in Minnesota. Now in its 35th year, the MYS Grade State Basketball Championships have become a cornerstone of Minnesota youth basketball. Representing nearly 180 Minnesota Youth Basketball Alliance member associations, Grade State showcases teams and communities from all corners of the state. It's a tradition that has inspired generations of players, coaches, and communities. 645 girls teams, 1,029 boys teams, and over 15,000 players. From local courts to the national stage, our athletes continue to leave their mark. Together, we honor the past, celebrate the present, and inspire the future. Minnesota made for 35 years. See you on the court.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision. It's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
In Lakeville, Minnesota, dozens of meeting venues are ready to host your next corporate event, banquet, and holiday party. Lakeville has unique conference facilities, a variety of hotels, an abundance of team-building options, and dining that are sure to impress. For suggestions that suit your needs, please call the Lakeville Convention and Visitors Bureau at 952-469-2020 or go to visitlakeville.org. Lakeville, we mean business.
Welcome back. 10,000 takes rolling along. So this past weekend was Twins Fest, which of course kind of marks the start of keep your eye on what's going on with the Twins organization. We know that they're still working on getting a new owner. And according to Dave St. Peter, the current president of the Minnesota Twins, who is kind of moving out slowly but surely, he figures he'll be out of his regular day-to-day duties probably in the next couple of months, is what he told us at the media luncheon. But it's spring training just around the corner. They're going down to Fort Myers mid-February. They'll be rocking and rolling down there. Pitchers and catchers will report, and we're off to the races. Now, I had a chance to talk to Rocco Baldelli, the Twins manager, and I asked him about a question because we haven't seen much movement, right? Hasn't that been the story of this offseason?
Zero.
Yeah, zero movement. And I asked him about that. I said, last year Cleveland had literally zero movement. They had brought some guys up from the minors. I said, does consistency play a factor? Because I thought it did for Cleveland last year. Can that be the factor that helps the Twins this year, along with staying healthy?
Well, I'll say this. The Twins cratered in September. That's well documented. But as recently as late August of last season, they were very good. They had one of the best records in Major League Baseball, and they clearly looked like they were on a playoff arc as a division winner, maybe garnering some home field. And then everything went south. It was a free fall. So you have to judge them on the entire body of work. Last season was a failure. They didn't get back to the playoffs. But it does show you that the team still has a lot of parts that can equate to success. They need to string it out until the end of September. Get guys back on the field. I think that's we pound that drum every year with the Twins. How many games will Byron Buxton play? Is Carlos Correa completely over plantar fasciitis? He's had it in both feet now. And
Royce Lewis.
Goes. Royce Lewis, another one, yes. And the pitching. Can Pablo Lopez get to where he was in 2023? Right. He took a bit of a drop-off last season. So this is not a team devoid of talent. But they certainly didn't add any pieces. They didn't take my advice and go out and get the polar bear, Pete Alonso, who'd hit about 500 home runs at Target Field.
He would.
He hit him off that skyscraper in left field. I mean, it's a right-hand hitter's ballpark.
Yes, it is. And they have not taken advantage of it recently with any big boppers from the right side.
Not since Nelson Cruz.
Okay. All right. Well, Super Bowl is set up. Are you excited? I know that most of America could probably care less about this one. A rematch between the Eagles and the Chiefs from 2 years ago. Chiefs going for their third straight, yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I mean, it's just another Super Bowl. This might be the one that I just have no interest in and probably won't even watch.
Well, you probably speak for the majority. Everything I see or read, nobody seems to be excited unless you live in Pennsylvania, Kansas, or Missouri. But I'll flip the script a bit. I mean, you're looking at greatness here, though. The first chance to three-peat by any Super Bowl team would be the Kansas City Chiefs. I said in September they will three-peat. I stand by it. Why wouldn't you pick the Chiefs? Andy Reid, best coach. Top quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Very good defense. Outstanding special teams led by Harrison Butker. And they play in an incredible stadium, Arrowhead. I know this will be in New Orleans. But then you look at Philadelphia. 7 touchdowns on the ground against Washington. This is an old-school, physical, punch-you-in-the-mouth team. So I think it really could be a very good game. I know there's a lot of people that have Kansas City fatigue and Philly fatigue, but they'll be watching.
Yeah.
Trust me, the numbers will be high.
Okay. Just so you know, Kansas City has been in the Super Bowl 5 of the last 6 years. So it's real easy to get tired of seeing the...
Well, yeah, they're the New England Patriots,
yeah, they are.
Right? I mean,
they are.
And then you got places like Minnesota, Detroit, and Buffalo. They're just craving.
Seems like it's never going to happen.
Super Bowl.
It's never going to happen. All right, buckle up. Takes of the day are coming up next. This is Minnesota Scores 10,000 Takes.
Finding the ideal place to stay is important for business travelers. Lakeville, Minnesota is conveniently located off I-35, just south of the Twin Cities with a variety of hotel choices. Lakeville offers convenient amenities such as shopping, walking trails, golf, and more. Our unique meeting spaces, historic downtown, live music, and over 60 dining options are sure to impress. Book your next stay in Lakeville and experience convenience, comfort, and quality. Find your perfect hotel at visitlakeville.org.
Wally and Eric from 10,000 Takes here in the land of lakes. And if you want sports of all sorts, check us out. We cover all the bases, all the teams in the great state of Minnesota.
Vikings, Twins, Wild, Gophers, Timberwolves, Loons, you name it, we do it. Late night Saturday night on Fox 9 Plus and on the Fox local app.
Seeing clearly matters. Being seen matters more. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
$10K Takes on television as we wrap up yet another episode. Big shout out to the viewers in the Twin Ports and the Twin Cities up and down that busy I-35 corridor. Tell those viewers what your mood is. Are you an angry American, a beaming Buckeye, sarcastic Sam? What is it this week?
Well, as I talked about earlier in the show, I made a trip to Williams Arena last Saturday. Went and watched the Gophers beat up on 15th ranked Oregon. Well, they beat them. I don't know if they beat them up. But I tell you, every time I walk into that arena, and particularly when they have the kind of crowd that they had on Saturday, I think to myself, what are you guys thinking about putting up a new arena? If you want to renovate Williams Arena, fine. Keep the raised floor. Keep the intimacy of that building. I know it opened in 1928. I get that. The thing is almost 100 years old now. But it has some unique qualities that you will not find anywhere else. Heck, you heard Richard Coffey talk about it. He played in there. He can tell you exactly what that means to a player on the Gophers. As I said earlier, Gopher players or players potentially who will come and play for Minnesota, they could give a rip about the arena. I know it's not all bells and whistles and all the new stuff that you might want, but they want to get paid, they want to get NIL money, and they want to get to the NCAA tournament. So forget about all that noise about suites and all this other stuff. Keep Williams Arena. If you need to tweak it, fine. A better barn is better than tearing that thing down and putting something up brand new. It's ridiculous.
All right, well, let's see what the mood meter says. Oh, he's an angry American. He's throwing the gauntlet down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right, though. Keep the barn. Tweak it. Tinker with it. Whatever. Keep it, though.
Absolutely.
It's a fun place to go. All right, well, my take of the day, I'm going to throw out some props and kudos to the Denver Broncos because a few days ago, Kerry Penner Walton, one of their owners, that would be the Walton from the Walmart family. So they have a few dollars. They have billions of dollars.
That's what I heard.
So the Broncos are going to buy 15,000 state-of-the-art Riddell football helmets and give all of these helmets to the 277 high school programs in the state of Colorado.
Wow.
It's going to cost them $12 million, which is, chump change for the Walton Penner family. But nonetheless, great gesture because these are helmets that the NFL and the NFLPA say are top notch. So you got some prep programs across the nation struggling to, buy equipment and get kids involved. So I salute the Denver Broncos for doing this. They've got the money, and let's hope this will be the first domino to fall. Hey, Minnesota Vikings, why don't you do the same thing? It would be a great gesture. It's a no-brainer, right? Give every school in the state of Minnesota free football helmets.
No, well, they still charge you for parking out there when you go to watch a high school
Could
game.
be a big wish. We'll see.
Yes.
All right, we got to FedEx out those thank yous. One to David Weld, Paul Langfellow, Richard Coffey, Rocky. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. We are 10K Takes, your sports ticket.